We are here to talk about some of the marketing products and how some customers use them in their actual use cases. So we have Vanessa Lewis from Arctic Spas, Nick Lonsky from Erase.com, and Howard Meltzer from Sales Tiger, and also First Choice Business Brokers. So just to sort of give everybody a little bit of context about the customers themselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vanessa Lewis. I'm the Director of Marketing at Arctic Spas. Another name for our company may be Blue Falls Manufacturing and Blue Falls USA and Arctic Spas UK. We are a manufacturer of premium hot tubs, all-weather pools, better known as swim spas in the U.S., and cold tubs. We have over 160 dealers around the world that sell our products.
Hi guys, my name is Nick Lonsky. I'm from Erase.com. And what our company does is basically public relations and reputation management for businesses and individuals. Really good service. So what I do at the company is I'm a director of demand generation. So basically, if that ad is following you online, it's me just doing my job. But yeah, so I also manage the entire CRM and all the administration around there.
My name is, Howard Meltzer. I own a company called Sales Tiger. Kind of an agency type of setup in that I have lots and lots of clients, but I have multiple Zoho One platforms. My clients typically are my users on my platforms, but I also have several very large clients. One in particular, First Choice, that Garrett mentioned, where we have 270 users and growing by 20 and 30 users every single month. So some interesting use cases we have, because several of my clients are in the franchise space, which creates some hurdles sometimes because we allow duplicates in the CRM. And oftentimes, in those cases, most of the folks in those franchises, their biggest competitor is the person sitting next to them, not some other company. So which creates, again, kind of some interesting use cases.
Yeah, so that sort of leads into some of my next points, which is just to sort of talk about a little bit about what inspired you to digitize your marketing operations, kind of where Zoho came into the picture, what challenges were you facing, and what were the goals that you sort of had when you decided to take on some of the products, and also which products are some of the key to your marketing operations at your business?
When I started with the company just over 2 years ago, we already had the Zoho One platform. So we were using various parts of it, such as the CRM, forms, campaigns, social, a little bit of surveys, just a few of the platforms kind of siloed. When I started with the company, this is at the time we're still in a place of transformation, including digital and getting better with our tracking. So we had a few workflows and journeys already solidified, but now we're really digging deeply into our data to make sure we're making smarter choices in our marketing dollars. So we're seeing a better ROI. Now we use so many of the channels. We use Zoho projects predominantly for the marketing team. Before, we were using Basecamp for all of our project management. When I started, those meetings were 2 hours. When we implemented projects into the marketing fold, we reduced our meeting time to 30 minutes just in one meeting, and we consistently do that. Of course, there's time for small chit chat, but really the most efficiency we got back at 90 minutes of our day to start our week. It also allows us to work seamlessly with our international teams. If anybody at any level of the corporation needs to take a look to see what's happening in marketing, they can go right ahead. We are making the transition to marketing automation, which we're really excited about. Especially for me, I can see the ROI and the data at a higher level. So I can easily explain that to the senior leadership team as well as the ownership group of how we're spending our dollars, if it's making ROI, are we getting leads in? I'm really excited about that. We use anything. I'm a big advocate of Zoho. When I saw that we had the Zoho One platform, I'm like, why are we not using this? It's been a transition, but the great thing is we have a small team that's really excited to try new things, and that's just the values that we have on our team is to try. Let's see what it works. Let's integrate that into our process, but let's figure that out really quickly. As we say, fail fast, learn quickly. So that's a little bit of our experience.
Thank you. Who wants to take it on next?
Yeah, I'll go. When I first started in 2020, the company's been around since 2014, and I started in 2020. At that time, we were kind of collecting data from all sorts of different sources online. It was all like standalone, being data collected in silos, basically. So it was really hard to kind of paint a clear picture of what was going on and explain certain things at an executive level. So my goal was to kind of come in here and make a single source of truth, which was the CRM, collect data and bring it in from all these sources into the CRM so that we could create really nice reports on it, so that we're only relying on basically one or two sources as a single source of truth, right? So that's Google Analytics for now, and then the CRM. So the way we do that now is by using different programs like Zoho Sales IQ. So it's a chat widget, right? But it does way more than that. Like behind the scenes on the website, it'll record user data and their actions on the website, pass it into the CRM, right? So one of the most important metrics is like the first page the customer actually visited on the website. So that normally will have all my UTMs and all the marketing information that I need from all the advertising platforms that I'm using, like Google Ads, Facebook, Bing. So Sales IQ gets that information from that metric, which is the first page that the customer actually visited the website. It'll carry over all that information, and then we parse out all that UTM information into different fields that we can then make reports on. Other than that, like Zoho forms. So through the forms, when a customer fills out a form, we have tons of hidden fields behind the form that captures information from the URL and passes it through the forms into the CRM that we can then make reporting off of. So that was basically where we were and now where we are. But yeah, there's more to it, but it's basically a good summary.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right, Howard.
Yeah, I guess years ago we were predominantly a kind of an email marketing company using InfoSoft and Active Campaigns and the likes, but a lot of our clients wanted more in terms of the CRM and other applications. I looked at everything and decided to go with Zoho some years ago. But really, I'll use more of this first choice business brokers as an example. We do a tremendous amount of email marketing. We also use Sales IQ on websites. We're gathering information. In the business brokering business, there's really two types of prospects. Ones are buyers and the others are sellers. And we're after both. So we can tell on Sales IQ based on where they're going, where they tend to, are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Should we be sending them information on one or the other? We certainly utilize Zoho Forms. Everything goes back into Zoho CRM. That's the other thing about, again, with this duplicate issue, the Forms really helps because we can put a hidden field in. So when someone fills out a form, we can say, this form belongs to this contact owner, assign this new prospect to this owner. Again, we could have 20 buyers with 20 different owners in the CRM. We're using Zoho Social. What really drove me to Zoho really in the beginning was scoring, lead scoring. Everything that we do revolves around lead scoring. Everything has a point associated with it. Whatever they do, social, like, share, again, number of minutes spent, pages spent on websites, email, open clicks, filling out forms, everything has a point associated with it. Therefore, it prioritizes who our agents or brokers are following up with. I mean, there's a limited amount of time in the day, and it's hard enough to get salespeople, I being one, to prospect. But now they want to use the CRM. They want to prospect because they know they're following up with people who are truly showing interest. They're warm leads. They're not cold leads. Anyone that scores points at every 6-point or 8-point increment, we have automated follow-ups that are personalized. So our goal is top of mind awareness. I can't make somebody buy a business. I can't make somebody sell a business. We want to make sure that when the incident occurs in their life where they want to do one or the other, they're thinking about first choice business brokers. It takes 10 to 12 touches to gain top of mind awareness. Minimally 10 to 12 touches. So you got to get them engaged and keep them engaged. If you pound on them, they unsubscribe, we lose them. I tell people what makes the program so successful. Our opt-out rate is 0.2%, and our complaint rate is 1 per 19,000. Zoho campaign standard is 1 complaint per 1,000. We're at 19,000. We don't pound on people. We use humor, goodwill, and education as a means of making the touches. We get them engaged, keep them engaged. So when that incident occurs, they're thinking about first choice, and we get the chance to compete. Not going to say we win them all, but we get the chance to compete.
Yeah, that makes sense. It actually leads right into my next question, which is, you know, I'm also a marketer myself, so I know the proving the value that marketing teams drive at the bottom line. We're talking about not just the amount of leads that you send over, but qualified leads. How many are qualified? How many are actually converting into buyers? So tell us a little bit about how the tools in Zoho or the processes that you've implemented with Zoho that have helped you generate more qualified leads for your sales teams in your funnel.
So basically, it all starts for us in the funnel from the ad accounts, right? So I have two different types of campaigns: the upper funnel campaigns and the low funnel, like kind of search campaigns where people are searching exactly what they're looking for, and then we show up for them, right? So the ones that we're kind of pushing out there and trying to build awareness for, the upper funnel campaigns, those ones will be sent to a specific landing page, and the lower funnel ones will be sent to another different landing page. On the upper funnel landing page, there might be more lead magnets, so like newsletters, or sign up to get a free report, or that sort of thing. Download a white paper, these types of things. So those guys will actually be funneled into marketing automation. So inside of marketing automation is then when we deliver them like email campaigns, and they go through an entire journey. And then we're actually trying to get SMS inside of marketing automation as well. We currently use a different service for SMS, but we will be definitely getting SMS functionality into marketing automation, so we can have that extra touch point on that at that level. For the lower funnel campaigns, go to a different landing page. They have more things like a lead form, or give us a call, or chat with us, right? So those things, like I mentioned before, we're passing through the UTMs and all the different marketing variables that we collect from the ad account automatically into our CRM. So with those ones, what we do is when they turn into sales, we then take all that data that we've got through the forms and everything else that Zoho has allowed us to do with those tools, upload that information back into the ad account, let's say Google Ads, and tell Google Ads to basically find us more people like that. So it really allows you to spend your marketing dollars, allows us to spend our marketing dollars really efficiently and get the highest possible quality leads. And then on the upper funnel side of things, it helps us deliver more value to people through email and SMS, and then bring them down the funnel, which turns them into more qualified leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Either Howard or Vanessa.
Yeah, I'd just say that just an example on our buyer side where, again, using first choice, once someone raises their hand, says they're interested in buying a business, typically they're going to go to either our website or a third-party website. Businesses are listed much like houses or buildings. multiple listings and so on and so forth. So we're gathering that information because they're requesting more information. Well, when they do that, we ask them to sign a non-disclosure, and we use automation through Zoho Sign to get that out to them. We can tell predicated on whether or not they've opened the email, they've signed the NDA, obviously. We also follow up once they sign the NDA with something called a confidential business profile, which gives them the information regarding the business. We know whether they downloaded it. We can use PageSense because we host it. We can see how much time did they spend on the confidential business profile? What areas of the confidential business profile did they spend time on? Was it in the financials? Where was it? And based on that, again, we know, hey, Nick spent 15 minutes in this one area where, somebody else may have looked at it for 3 minutes and that was it. So it's given us a tremendous amount of intel, and obviously, again, prioritizing who we're going to follow up with. I mean, if a person never signs the NDA, we kind of know they're not interested. Or if they sign the NDA, but they didn't download the confidential business profile, again, we know there's less interest. The other side of it, too, on the seller side, I'm 62 years old. I'm old. Most of the business owners in this country today are baby boomers. A lot of them read mail. Everybody thinks direct mail is dead, but we don't believe it is. So a lot of what we'll do, again, is if we can identify who's on our website, who are they, what business are they associated with, we can take an educated guess based on their age. We'll API over, we have an arrangement set up with a direct mail company where we API based on, again, people hitting certain points, be it website, or opening emails. We can have a direct mail piece go out within 24 hours. And we know that those baby boomers read that direct mail because we have QR codes on them where they'll come back and ask for a market price analysis, or they'll ask about getting financials on another business or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Vanessa, how about you at Arctic Spas?
It's a little bit unique because we predominantly do the marketing for both Canada and the US. Completely different customer behaviors, completely different feelings right now about the various states of economy. So that is something we have to take into very seriously, considering we are a premium product. Our product is not cheap. We are the most expensive hot tub in the industry. So we have to counter a lot of those feelings that people do have, as well as be realistic with what's in front of us. So we have marketing and advertising in a variety of areas. In some markets, we tend to do well with traditional TV and radio. In others, we seem to do well in streaming. And we've been testing that out for the past few years, and we're finding a sweet spot in every single market we're in. So before I started, it used to be a blanketed approach. Now we're being a little bit more localized, so they can come in through however advertising we do. Once they come to our website, we have a variety of forms they can fill out. They can fill out our standard request pricing, which is usually what someone is looking for when they're in the research phase of buying a hot tub. That form, there's a field there to let us know how do they prefer to be contacted by email, phone, or text. Those form submissions go directly into our CRM. We also have a 3D builder on our website that allows you to actually build your dream hot tub. It's a more condensed form, but that same form goes into our CRM. I would say the 3D builder form is more of a hot lead. We would consider a hot lead because those details from that 3D builder goes into the CRM. So that goes directly to the sales team, and that's organized by zip code or area or country, depending on where they're located from. So it can either go to one of our corporate retail stores or to one of our dealers around the world. From there, the sales team, our process is to have the sales team get in touch with them immediately. They have 10 minutes to respond to a lead. If they're below that, we have a team that will actually call that person because they get an automated response. You have a lead, you have 10 minutes. You need to respond because we know once someone closes their laptop, they're done. They're going to go with the first person who gets back to them. Because our product is very complicated in the sense to understand, it's not something you can just click and order and it's there. We have over, at last count, 2.4 million combinations you can make from one of our spas. So everything is customizable. So it requires just a little bit more information to clearly explain that. From there, it goes through the sales process, and it's also there's a side funnel that allows us to market to them, depending on what they're interested, what series, things like that. And we send them a little bit more information, but we let the sales team take control of the first contact. They have usually 6 months to work with that lead, but we do communicate with them from time to time, but we know not to push it because people will stop working with the sales team. That's just what we found over 30 years. We are finding in the US in particular, some people are a little bit more hesitant to spend money on a hot tub, which we understand. So from there, we are talking more about the value even more, which is something we already have to speak about because of our price point. We have increased our social media by doing more engagement. We've actually started doing TikToks in each localized location by our corporate retail division so that people get to know the sales team one-on-one when they are on social. For us, the big thing is all about, as you can probably tell, is communication between our sales team and our customers. I'm fortunate to work out of one of our most successful stores across our company, and the customers that come in just to say hi, and they come in and they bring cookies and treats like that just because of the sales team. And if I happen to be in the store and I walk by, some customers have gotten to know me and my team as well. And just hearing that feedback one on one, and it also allows us to create focus groups, which is how do you feel about this messaging if you were to get so, and get their direct feedback, because we want to have more customers like them who come in, and we always have repeat customers that come in time and time again, as well as we have customers that have been with us for 20 plus years with the same hot tub.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that right now, in this economy, but just in general, I mean, communicating value is the number one, key differentiator, and also encouraging that dynamic and cooperative relationship between marketing and sales. I know that, one as a marketer, I always want to know, how close does the marketing team work with sales? Are they like actually communicating with each other? And so talking a little bit about what is like the kind of information that you can pass along to the sales team. I know that, you both can speak to that a lot, and Howard, touching a little bit about like your clients have confidentiality, requirements. They work with telemarketers. You are not just managing the buyer side, but also the seller side. So how do you encourage that kind of collaboration and maintain those relationships without unnecessary crossover?
When Zoho moved from, for those of you who've been around Zoho for a while, from having a custom view in your CRM and you brought that over to Zoho campaigns, it was pretty easy to manage the process of, in CRM, you're allowed to have dupes. In campaigns, you're not. So when they implemented the sync, they forgot that people do have dupes. So what happens is, what was happening was when someone went into the CRM and created a duplicate record, when the sync started working with campaigns, automatically it updated the record in campaigns with a new owner. Well, again, using the example I had, we could have Nick here who's sending out emails to somebody. All of a sudden, I put in the same email address in campaigns. That's going to change to me being the owner. So now this person is getting emails not from Nick that he may have opted into. He's getting them from me. And then Vanessa goes and puts in the third. It was becoming a nightmare. So not only a nightmare for confidentiality, but also a nightmare because we could see our unsubscribe and our complaint rate going up, and rightfully so. So we built some integration where once we assign in CRM, a lead to somebody in terms of utilizing Zoho campaigns, I can't stop them from using something else. If they want, they don't. If they want to go use Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever, they certainly could, but they don't. But once we assign that, It's assigned in campaigns, and that way we don't have to worry about ownership change. Plus, it was really important for us to get the points that people were scoring on those campaigns back to the record of the person that we were doing the email marketing on their behalf. We also have a lot of folks that want to use third party today. You know, VAs are big, offshore VAs, and we have third party telemarketing companies that want to. A lot of brokers and agents want to have utilized to make calls. We didn't want them in our CRM. So what we did is we basically utilizing Zoho Sheets, we created some integration from CRM where the user can basically add leads, contacts onto their sheet. Within the sheet, we have 3 columns: result, notes, and date called. The telemarketer just uses those 3 columns. So in that result column, it might be left voicemail, send info, contact in the future, appointment booked. Every one of those results triggers a workflow that either goes to the prospect based on the result or goes to the owner of the contact saying, hey, you know, you need to call this person. They're requesting more info as it pertains to this. All the notes go back into the CRM and the date call go back into the CRM. And we use Zoho Flow for that integration. It's worked flawlessly. It's really worked really, really well. And now we're finding that before, where people were just having someone call a prospect once, when we take those left voicemails and contact in the futures and reapply them to the sheet, we set the integration up in such a way that the telemarketer doesn't know that a contact has been re-added. And the beauty of with Zoho Flow is we're updating the record. So if they call them a second or a third time, any new notes are getting updated and again added to the notes section in the CRM. The date call gets updated, as does the result. So because we're getting multiple phone calls, again, along with the emails, along with all the touches that we're making, we're seeing our appointments go way, way up. Booked appointments. I'm talking on Calendly booked appointments.
Yeah, makes sense. And I think one of the other ways I've heard, on a previous call that we had a lot about data and the ways in which Nick at your company, you pass along a lot of good data to your sales teams. It starts with the top of the funnel, and then just like a very automated process, kind of moving them down, getting them more qualified. I know that you use PageSense a lot at your organization, or you've been exploring even some of the more unique features of it. Can you talk a little bit more about how you use PageSense at your organization, or any of those other products that factor into the data that you are passing on to sales teams, and pushing leads through the sales funnel and trying to figure out, okay, are these actually qualified, and how can we make improvements in order to drive more qualified leads?
Yeah, so we use PageSense, and we're exploring a lot more of it. But right now, one of the major things we use in PageSense is, well, it connects to your website and captures all the data that, like, let's say Google Analytics would. Right? The only difference is that it easily and seamlessly integrates into your CRM. So you can pass all that data into the CRM record by record, right? So we like that. We love that about it. And then we can actually program in key events that we want our customers to do in their journey on our website. So when they hit those marks on those goals, then as Howard was saying, you can give them, a better lead score. So they can we can see in real time how qualified these customers are, these potential customers, right? So that's one of the features. The other feature is that we use a lot heat mapping, right? To see where on our page that the customer or the potential customer is very, very interested in. So where are they mostly clicking? How actually deep are they scrolling on the page? Do we need to move content up? Do we need to move content down? Do we need to switch things around? So that's more information that we're getting as well. One of the other things that we do, and we're experimenting with a lot now in CRO for as conversion rate optimization, is trying to experiment with different ways to different buttons, like maybe on the form, above the form, it might have a little CTA or make the user more comfortable to fill out the form. We might be experimenting with adding a lock symbol or trust factors under the form or different H1s, all that sort of thing. You can actually use PageSense to do all that without the need of any developers or coders. So we can keep that in the marketing department and not have to ask for additional development help to implement those little changes that we want to test, and then maybe wait a month for it to come back, right? For the change to happen. So we've launched a big project now, and we've done it in the past. And then as split testing URLs as well. So we have our creative team create a B test version of the entire page, right? Then you can pit pages against each other, right? In a race to see who can be the best, have the best conversion rate, or whatever metric that you're looking for. So we'll test A against B and see which one comes out the winner. And then you split the traffic. So it helps you to split the traffic. So for 50% of the people that come to your website, PageSense will intervene and say, you're going to see the B version of the website. And the other half is going to see the A version. So you get really nice data and quick reports on that. We haven't explored too much of the pop-ups that it can do as well, or surveys. But that's something that we're thinking about. But yeah, PageSense is a really, really exciting tool. It could do more than I thought, and maybe some of you more than you think. Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I feel like you said the same thing about Sales IQ too. I didn't even know that it did some of the things that you mentioned to me, honestly. Vanessa, you talked about using Zoho projects, and I wanted to just dive a little bit more into sort of the internal marketing operations. How are you optimizing your marketer's time without having to grow your team tenfold? Because I'm sure that would be cost prohibitive.
Yeah, it would be using how we structure our Zoho projects is we have all of our tasks. So basically, going to start from the beginning. Our dealers and our corporate stores can reach out to us for a market-in request. We have a form that is actually a Zoho form that they fill in. It automatically comes through a CRM and it comes directly to myself to approve, or my marketing manager. From there, we approve it or we deny it. We usually don't deny. We kind of reach out to whoever's asking for details, but we approve it. It automatically goes into projects. So we have what we call a card. So a card is usually one task. All the details from the form are pulled directly into there so we can have a high level view. If we need to get some clarifying information, we can look at that form and we can reach out to that person specifically, get all the details, and then we assign all of whoever's working on it based on capacity. All of the details are there. We add any details or pull from work drive if there's previous projects or anything like that. And then the team can go in and take a look at the card, but just for efficiency purposes, we also use Teams. Sorry, we're not using Click yet, but it's with our IT team. So that's what we have to use. We do have a lot of communication there, but I made it into the process that all information needs to be on project. So that goes for approvals, any types of questions, everything about that project is there. Because as we say, if somebody is injured, and it has happened on my team, sadly, someone else can look at it the next day to see where the status is, where the links are. Someone else could pick up that project. If my VP wants to go in and see where a project is without asking me, he can go in and has access to everything. It allows a lot of clarity and not anybody making mistakes in what we say, because we have over 160 dealers we need to make happy. We just have to be on top of it. If there's anything missed, someone else who's also working on it can see that and will flag it with the team. So we have that clear lines of communication with our team. We know all feedback is good feedback. Everything is constructive. We just want to put out the best product we can for our stores.
Yeah, perfect. And don't feel bad about teams. We understand. I mean, you guys are all using multiple, products at your businesses, I'm sure. And so we are not up here to lie to you all and say that they only use Zoho. And one of the things that we find is like the integrations between the different apps, even external apps, is a huge selling point. So it's something that brings people over and over, and we find that too in some of our customer speakers. Thank you everybody for listening.